Would you recommend? Burrow burger?
Yeah. When are you going to start training, Kev?
I'm in training.
Are you?
Yeah.
How many people are part of the team and training?
So running, myself, David, Chris. Bikes, Daryl, Phil, Martin. Someone in Doc. Physio?
Yeah.
Or can we get away with that?
Especially with 3 years running, you need a physio. Just to keep us on the road. So how do you see, just take a general run, so don't take into fact fatigue late in the week, but a general run. How do you see that breaking down?
So I thought about this last night, and I need to do a bit of trial and error with it, but 7 o'clock start.
Yeah.
Right.
We run for 3 hours.
Yeah.
So run for 25 minutes, walk for 5.
Yeah.
Repeat that obviously 6 times.
Okay.
Right, 10 o'clock we stop, and there's some sort of breakfast on for us.
Yeah.
For half an hour. So Rob got diagnosed in December 2019, and 2 days after him going public, we found ourselves meeting Doddy Weir up in Carlisle. I'd never met Doddy previously. I'd known about his journey, didn't quite understand MND and what it does. But Doddy was more than happy to speak to Rob, and it was a brilliant meeting. A lot of joy, a lot of laughing, and Doddy instilled more fight in Rob. He instilled a different viewpoint, he instilled a different attitude in Rob. He gave him hope. And it was the car journey back where you do what a mate does and says, we're going to try and help. I don't know how best to do it, but the initial thoughts were around his family and ensuring that they had financial security for the rest of their lives. I wanted to try and take that away from his thoughts and take that concern and worry away from him. So we had that inevitable conversation, which was how much do you need? It was a case of me suggesting numbers, and it's not fair for me to share it with anybody, but is this the number? And at that point, we're both pretty teary, and this is December 2019. There was no chance we were going to get that number in 5 or 6 days before Christmas, but I was adamant in my own mind that we'd have that money secured by the following Christmas. I wanted him to be able to wake up with his kids Christmas morning 2020 and not have that concern or worry. It was taken care of, and all he had to concern himself with was watching his kids open the presents. That set off a number of different fundraising events. Some of the old boys put the boots back on, myself included, and that gives a really good start. And then COVID hit, things changed for all of us, and I very quickly realised that we were going to be short, and ultimately that's how the 77 was born. With the view of making 77,777. Yes, Rob's squad number was number 7. I put a message out to a number of friends to see if they fancied getting involved, and instantly they all agreed, and the 77 original team was set up. It was put together in the boot of my car. Originally we planned to run from Murrayfield, which was Doddy. Wanted to thank Doddy for the support he'd given Rob. But due to COVID restrictions, we ended up running 5 in Saddleworth, my home, and 2 in Leeds, which is my rugby home. Million!
It went crazy, and before long, we were at 2.7 million. So that figure that we wanted to secure for Rob for Christmas morning was absolutely met. And then meant we had a massive amount of money to pass over to the MND Association. From that original 7 in 7, people across the UK have done their own 7 in 7s, which is huge, when you think about the ripple effect of just something we tried to do for a mate. I came out of that glowing and knowing that I didn't quite know what the future was going to be for me, but I knew that I wanted to carry on helping people in any way I could. So not long after that, thoughts went straight into planning the next one. And I come up with this idea, having been sent an article about Big Dog's Backyard Ultra, which is a run in America, which is just over 6k a loop, and every hour on the hour they run that loop.
and whatever's left of that hour they get for recovery and rest. I thought to myself, I wonder if we can change this and adjust it from just over 6k to 7k, because 7's our magic number. But can we do it over a day? 7k an hour for 24 hours, you work that out, then you convert it into miles and you end up with 100 miles. So we decided to make it 101 and call it the extra mile. It was my wife Jane who suggested, how far is it from Leicester to Leeds? And given they're the two clubs that I've loved working at, it made sense when I typed that into Google Maps and it was 100 miles. So incredibly, the team grew. It took a lot of preparation, and I think we ended up raising around 2.2 million. And straight away, I wanted to do a third. I thought every great stories are a trilogy and have three. But trying to think what the third could be, trying to then understand how it fit around work, trying to then understand whether we'd get the support again, was a challenge in itself.
What's the objective of this challenge, Kev?
To raise as much awareness and funds as we can.
As a target?
Quite like the idea of 777. It was a big target, it's a big jump from what we've done.
Yeah. Cheers.
And there'll be other charities involved this time. Do you want to explain what we discussed with what we did with the money?
Kev's keen that we do incorporate My Name's Doddy and Stephen Derby River Foundation, as well as the two that we've already done before.
Very quickly, the team were all in, fancied it, wanted to do it. It fit with the fixture calendar at work. You know, the club said if you're going to have a week, we prefer you to have this week, and then you get to finish at the Rugby League World Cup. So that's how the third one was born. Right, we're going to go from Edinburgh to Old Trafford, and within that, there are some key locations we want to stop at or we want to hit. And we wanted to combine three sports: Rugby League, Rugby Union and football, to include Stephen Darby, Doddy Weir and Rob Burrow, because that's how the BBC Breakfast coverage started, with those three brothers. So in pulling that together, we had Murrayfield, Melrose, Newcastle for Doddy, Headingley for Rob, Bradford City and Valley Parade for Stephen, and then on to Old Trafford. And why Old Trafford? Well, firstly, it was because it's a venue that meant a lot to me and Rob. Rob had some of his greatest days there as a Rhino on that field.
Burrow try! A fantastic Rob Burrow try!
It's a sport where the fans and supporters back people who are in times of need, and they certainly backed Rob, and it felt like a wonderful place to finish with our own people.
Morning everybody, thanks for coming out. Thank you. Thank you, y'all alright? Yeah. Thank you. You guys not asleep? That's great to see you all, thank you.
Yeah, the team picked itself. All friends, all people who cared about what we were trying to do, who understood the big picture in it, all committed and willing to sacrifice some time at home with the family. They were just an unbelievable group of people who really wanted to help. We were in the meeting room the night before we set off, and you could feel some nerves.
Right, there's going to be some massive highs along the week, there's going to be some lows, there's going to be some banter, there's going to be some people who get cross and angry, and I'll probably be the cranky one as well. So apologies in advance, but at the end of this week, you will all be glowing like the Ready Brett man, because we're going to do something really, really special together. Let's make it the best week of your life.
I knew there were some friendships and relationships that would grow, but I knew at the outset that spending 7 days with people 24/7 is different. I knew we had to try and bring us together very quickly. I thought it was really important that, like a rugby team would, the night before a big game, you get together, you have a bit of a meeting, and then there's a shirt presentation.
Phil D. Like the planning behind this pulling together the media, generating the interest in it is down to Phil and what he's been able to achieve. And 2 years ago when we set out,
it was a great way to introduce everybody properly. It was a nice way to hand over a running vest or a running t-shirt that meant we were part of something, and straight away we all had that number 7 on the back of our shirts.
Chris is the reason I started running. I must have run 20 marathons with him. Obviously did the 7 in 7, and he was one of the first I text. So to get the chance to be able to do it this week, brilliant, pal. So great to have you with us.
Do you need anything? Carl Ogg, who's Doddy's best mate. Funnily enough, he was captain at Leeds Carnegie when I was captain at the Rhinos, and wanted to play a part in the challenge, and it was really great that we had him. Really good character. I knew he'd fit great in the group. Oggy had come to see us the night before and explained that Doddy hadn't been well, and that it was very, very unlikely that he'd be at Murrayfield the following morning, and we all understood, like, health has to come first. Doddy had said to me right from the outset when I told him about what we were doing and asked him if he'd be at the start, he promised me he'd be there. So when Carl broke it to us the night before, there was a very small part of me that thought, he'll show up. And if he hadn't done, I wouldn't have been disappointed at all, because his health had to come first, but a small part of me, I was just like, he'll be here. And lo and behold, the following morning, he turned up.
You alright, Gary? I'm alright. You alright? Hey, champ. You okay? I didn't think you was going to get out of bed for us. I told you to stay in bed.
It was me that wanted to stay in bed. It was him that insisted on getting
sorry,
up.
Kathy. It was brilliant you've come down. Thank you.
How you feel?
It meant so much. Big smile, eyes full. Yeah, there was no better send-off for us. There was an unbelievable amount of people there. I think straight away we realised how special it was what we was doing.
I've got your blanket, by the way. I meant to bring it up.
5 o'clock tonight, where is it?
He's supposed to be navigating now for these next 2 days. Is he going to get us lost?
Wonderful. What's your name?
Yeah.
Maureen? Yeah. Okay.
I think he wants to turn it into a pub crawl.
Thank you.
Thanks for your support. Thank you. Come on. Right, which way is it?
It's every parent's nightmare to have their child die before them. But I think to have a child die of MND is probably one of the most horrific things you can face. If anyone had met Jody, and I think he had so many friends from all over the world because he was a traveller, he was an adventurer from being a child. And Jody did travel all over the world, from South America, Alaska, and then he decided he was going to live in Australia. So everything sounded wonderful, but in July 2014, he rang me, having just come out from a consultant appointment in Sydney, and it was midday for him, and for me it was midnight, and he said, "Mum, I've got motor neurone disease." And I don't think I'll ever forget that moment when I really felt the world that we knew in our family had ended. When he actually came home, he lost 20 kilos. He couldn't actually swallow food anymore, he was choking. I didn't go back to work because I was the main carer, and I just wished upon anything that a cure would come. Something would come, something that would extend his life, something that would take it all away. Every mother wants to save her child's life, and I feel I failed because I didn't save his life. But it's a fatal disease and there's nothing I could have done.
Motor neuron disease is quite an umbrella term, and there are different types of motor neuron disease. Some are slowly progressive, and some, of course, progress quite rapidly. And at the end of the day, this is a life-limiting condition. When we look at the ALS form of motor neuron disease, the life expectancy is quite limited. With time, you can have a weakness of your arms, your legs, weakness with your muscles of your breathing, and for which you may need assisted ventilation. And of course, your speech and swallowing can be affected. And if your swallowing is affected, then you would need help with assisted nutrition as well. It's always a very hard diagnosis to give. There is a lot of information that needs to be given, and it's difficult for patients. It is devastating news. I think the awareness that Rob and Kevin has done has really made a huge change. Very recently, I've had patients coming in saying, Dr. Jung, I know what to expect. I've got Rob Burrow's disease. So these are conversations that are happening much earlier on in my clinic now. And the earlier diagnosis means that we can support our patients much earlier.
Rob and his family have made a huge and amazing difference to the awareness, because it's a very unfundraised disease. Not many people actually know about it. And Rob has changed the whole view, and everybody needs a friend like Kev. And I think for us, it helps knowing that there's someone there who's really bringing to attention the hell that is MND and what people go through.